Hi, and welcome to NicheCraft. My name is Kassi, and I am your host. So today we are going to be doing another granny square tutorial, and this time we're going to learn how to make the solid granny square. And I just want to show you, this is the basic granny square, okay? So it's made up of these clusters of double crochets with chain spaces in between them. And it's worked in the round, and it just keeps going around and around until you decide that it's done. And this is one that is made up of 4 different rounds. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds there. So this is just another kind of granny square, and it's, instead of using the granny square clusters that are kind of classic part of granny squares, we are going to be going in and we're going to be making just double crochets here in a way that it kind of fills up all of that space. And instead of clusters, we will have something that is a little bit more substantial. This, for example, if you were going to make a regular granny square blanket, this would probably be just fine. But let's say you might want to make something that's a little bit warmer. This might be a better choice, as there's less, this has a little bit more airflow there than this does. It's just about what your preference is. I really like this granny square design, and I'm going to bring back the other granny square because I can show you something. The way it's done, the very first round is done exactly the same as the very first round in, okay, I just wanted to make sure it was on the right side. It's done the very same way as the very first round of a granny square, okay? So the first round is the same. It's just the second, third, and fourth rows and on, if you decide to keep going, are going to be different. And it's a very subtle difference. It's not really that hard to learn. All you're going to need to know is how to double crochet, how to chain, and how to create a round to crochet into. And I'm going to be teaching you how to do that for this granny square tutorial. So that's all you're going to need to know. I'm going to take you through 4 rounds, and then I'm going to show you how to bind off and hide your tails. So let's go ahead and get started. So what you're going to need is a yarn of your choice. I would recommend a size 3 or 4 weight yarn, and a crochet hook that goes with that size. I'm going to go ahead and use my 4 weight yarn and an eye hook, the same as I used for the solid granny square that I had on the screen earlier. It's the same. All right, so what we're going to do is we make our slip knot and put it on our hook, okay? Then we're going to make a circle by chaining 4. Okay, and then bending this back over and putting our crochet hook through that first chain. What we do then is that we pull a loop through that first chain, and then we pull it through the last chain, and now we have a circle to crochet into. There are other ways to make a circle to crochet into, but this is the beginner way that I learned, and I think it's the most appropriate for this particular tutorial. So now that we have this, what we're going to do is we're going to chain up either 2 or 3, depending on how high you like to make your double crochets. Most people chain 2, but some people prefer to chain 3. So I just want to let you guys know that that is optional. But we're going to chain up. I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to make 2 more double crochets into this side of the square. All right, so here is the first side done. Okay, now I'm going to chain 2 to create a corner, and then I'm going to crochet the next side, and that is crocheted the same way by putting 3 double crochets into that circle that we created. Now the reason we only did 2 on this one is that chain up, that counts as our first double crochet. So that's what I mean when I say either chain up 2 or chain up 3, whichever one works best with your particular double crochet stitches. So I just made my second side, and so I'm making another corner by chaining 2. Now I'm going to make a third side here by going back in and double crocheting 3 times into that center. All right, I'm going to make another corner by chaining 2. Make the fourth side by crocheting into that center 3 more times. Okay, so I finish the first round off by chaining 2 to make that last corner, and then slip stitching that in to this first chain 2 that counts as our first double crochet. And how you do that is that you go underneath that loop there and you pull a loop through here. Okay, so now you have 2 loops on your hook. Then you pull that loop through that last chain that you just made. And now we're done with the first round. Before we start the second round, I just want to show you how the pattern works up. So we have this first round, right? Here's where we are right now, okay? So next time we're going to put in some extra stitches in the corners and then crochet into the top of these stitches, all right? So every single round we do, we're gonna add 4 stitches to each side, okay? So that is another way of just kind of thinking about this particular crochet project, okay? So I'm gonna chain 2. If you prefer 3, that's fine. And now I'm gonna double crochet 1 more time into that corner. Okay, so that counts as 2 of the 4 stitches that we're gonna add. Next, I'm gonna double crochet into the top of these 3 stitches. So I'm gonna double crochet into the top of this chain here. And at the top of the first 2 double crochets that I made. And then, just like we did on the other side, I'm going to add 2 more stitches by double crocheting twice into this corner space. Okay, so we started with 3 and now we have 5. I'm sorry. We started with 3 and now we have 7. Okay, so now we chain 2 and we do the exact same thing. So now we're on the second side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first double crochet twice into this corner space. Okay, and then I'm going to double crochet into each one of those 3 double crochets from the round before. And now I'm going to put 2 more double crochets into this corner to complete this side. Okay, so next I'm going to chain 2 and do the same thing that I did on these 2 sides, and I'll meet you up when I'm completed round 2. See you then. Hi, welcome back. So I have finished, or almost finished, the second round here, and I in every corner I put two extra double crochets. Then I chained 2, I put 2 extra double crochets, and I went ahead and double crocheted into those 3 double crochet stitches from before. Then I added 2 more extra crochets and extra double crochets, and then I chained 2 again, and now we're just about ready to join with the first side. So I'm going to go ahead and show you again how to slip stitch. You go under that stitch, you pull a loop through, and then you pull that same loop through that last chain. Okay, and so now we are ready to do round 3. So again, you chain up 2 or 3 if that's what you prefer to reach the height of a double crochet, and this counts as your first double crochet. Next, you're going to double crochet once into this corner space for a total of 2 double crochets. So now we have added those 2 double crochets. Next, we're going to double crochet again into each one of these double crochet stitches that we made from the round before. Okay, so there's one and another, and we just go ahead and keep going around, stitching into each one of these double crochet stitches. And then when we get to a corner, that's where we add 2 more. And then chain 2, and then we start on the next side. So I'm about to reach this corner. Here I am. I'm going to put 2 more double crochets there, because in each granny square we do increase for every round. Okay. And now I'm going to chain 2, put 2 double crochets for this side, and then I will continue to double crochet into each one of these stitches, adding 2 at the corner for each side with a chain 2 in between them until I come all the way back and I reach this first double crochet. I will see you there. Hi, and welcome back. We are at the end of round 3, and if you are an easy learner, then you probably have this stitch down, but if you're like me and you need repetition a little bit more, we are going to go ahead and crochet 1 more round together, and then I will teach you how to bind off and weave in your ends on this particular kind of granny square. And again, I call this the solid granny square. I'm not certain what the official name is for it, or if there's an official name for it, but this is basically, you know, it's the same as this in that, you know, in that it requires about as much presence of mind while you're doing it, but it's just solid instead of the classic kind of granny square clusters. So again, we are going to chain 2 or 3 if that's what you prefer, and we're going to add a second double crochet in that corner space. Next, we are going to insert a double crochet stitch at the top of every double crochet stitch in the previous round. Again, this yarn has not been fun to work with. It was a really great shop and everything. It's just, this yarn has, the first one was so tangled I just abandoned the yarn. And then this one is the second one I've worked with. It's just been really, there was a part where the yarn was tied together. It was not been pretty. And it's been splitting easily too. But we are here to talk crochet, not to complain. So just keep focusing on putting those double crochet stitches in the previous double crochet stitches in the previous round, that is. Okay, and then when we reach the end of that side, we put 2 more stitches in this turning, or in this corner. Then we create the next corner by crocheting 2 chain stitches. Then we put 2 more double crochets into this corner on this second side. And then we do the same thing we've been doing by double crocheting into each stitch all around each side. When we reach the corner, add 2 more stitches, chain 2, add 2 more stitches, double crochet into each stitch, add 2 more stitches, chain 2 to make that corner, and add 2 more stitches for the next side, and continue until you reach this first side where we started. I will see you there. Hi, so as you can see, I am almost done with this final round, and I just want to show you how you can count the rounds. We've got the first one, and then all you have to do is count up like this. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds, okay? So I've reached this last corner and I have chained 2. Now I'm going to go into this first stitch and pull a loop through, and then pull that same loop through my last chain 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and pull another big loop through, cut that and pull tight, and I am done with my second solid granny square. And before, we had also made some regular granny squares together as well. So this is turning into what might be a granny square sampler blanket or item. So I was going to show you how to weave in the ends, but before I do, I just want to go ahead and mention right now I do have a giveaway for NicheCraft. So be sure to find the giveaway video and watch it to the end so that you know all the rules and how to enter, and that would be great. The total the current giveaway that I have, the total monetary value is between $125 and $150, and so yeah, make sure that you do that. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel. I am obviously this is a new channel, however I've been adding at least 1 tutorial every single day, and I've started with some of the beginner stuff, but starting next week I'm going to begin adding some tutorials for more advanced stitches, and so you're not going to want to miss that. I also do a lot of yarn unboxings and mystery box unboxings, and I'm going to start adding some other crafts to this, although this channel is going to be focusing mostly on yarn. Okay, so let me show you how to weave in your ends. So in this end that comes here with that first round, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my crochet hook underneath those first double crochets in that first round. I'm going to pull this through. I'm going to do it again on the next side. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and clip that. And I clip it as close to the work as I can without clipping the work, obviously. And then on this one, it's a little bit different than the way that worked, because we have tighter stitches here. So what you can use is you can go ahead and use a darning needle, a yarn needle basically, to weave in the ends. In fact, that's what I'm going to do for this one, since it's a little bit more tight to put this through here with a crochet hook. So you just get out one of your needles if you have them. If you don't, you can use your crochet hook too. Although I would suggest continuing to pull it through diagonally here. But since I have this needle, I'm going to go ahead and put this in this yarn needle here. And oh my goodness, terrible. There are little needle, like there are threaders for needles with problematic yarn, or just any yarn actually. Some people have issues putting that through there. So just so you know, I choose to do it by hand. So yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm just taking this needle and weaving it underneath these stitches here. Okay, and then I'm going to pull on it so that that entire string comes through. I'm going to kind of pull it so that that settles in, and give it a snip as close to the work as possible without clipping my work, and just watch that disappear. And we have our second granny square completed. So this is what I call the solid granny square, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will see you soon with another tutorial.